So Caleb Sislowski, who was the general manager, tells me at the end of the meeting, hey, by the way, Blaine Crim's coming back, so add him to the roster. And I freaked out. And Logan Silver, who was another director that had been there the year before with me, we just looked at each other and were like, Blaine's coming back. Blaine Crim's coming back.
If you are not from the Athens County area, then you might not know about the Southern Ohio Copperheads and what they accomplished during their 2018 season. After getting close to finding a way over the hump during the past decade, an early exit in the 2017 postseason still gave the fans some optimism for the new year. The experience of coming to a place like Athens, Ohio is one that few people other than the locals and college students at Ohio University truly get to experience. Many players who join the Copperheads get that first experience being here all summer with the team itself.
I've never heard of the Copperheads until our hitting coach freshman year was sending me there for the summer, and that's all I knew. He said it's Athens, Ohio. You'll love it there. It's a great town. And then I show up that summer, and sure enough, basically fell in love with the place.
Phil had some things to say about the Cheads when he was recruiting me, so I thought I'd give him a call. And one thing led to another, and I already knew I loved Athens from being there for a year anyway, so it was a no-brainer to me. Actually, it was about a week before we all reported, and he said, yeah, man, come on in. So,
yeah, Athens is a super cool town. I love the feel. I love the people. There's clearly a passion for that school, and there's a passion for the Copperheads there that, just made you feel at home. It made you feel wanted to be there, like people actually enjoyed your presence.
With the Southern Ohio Copperheads looking for a bounce back under now third-year manager Phil Butler, bringing back key bats like the third baseman Blaine Crim and also standout outfielder Ty Sunkton meant they had the start to something special. But two players don't make a team great, meaning there was work to be done to make this group click together, and they had plenty in a stacked lineup.
The rest of the lineup was stacked, just constant pressure 1 through 9 that we applied. We could really hit, and we had, even when guys were sitting the bench, they could hit. They could come up in big-time situations, and, I had Blake after me who could rake, so sometimes that helped a lot too.
We didn't necessarily know right off the bat. I saw these dudes taking BP. I'm like, wow, we have a special group of guys. We had a good pitching staff, and it really just was clear after a couple weeks of, seeing the competition that we were playing against. After that, I kind of had a good idea that we were the superior team in the league and that we really were the front runners for that championship. And honestly, it was just great to see the guys rally around that and really not get, nervous or scared or felt like they had the pressure on them.
The Copperheads got off to a quick start to their season, winning 9 of their first 12 games to open up the campaign. It was clear that the balance this team showed was strong, and it wasn't just one part of this well-oiled machine doing all the damage.
I don't really recall much weakness in the lineup. The infield's good, the outfield hit.
The team from top to bottom, from the bullpen to some of those rotational guys, it was a perfectly executed roster that the coaches put together.
But yeah, when you have a team like that, that's just so dangerous, and then you have guys like Blaine Crim, and then you have guys like Ty Sunskin, the two guys that returned for another summer at the Copperheads. Those guys kind of instilled how you're supposed to act as a Copperhead, how you're supposed to play as a Copperhead, and I think that translated throughout the team.
The lineup was deep, but all of it centered around one player, Blaine Crim. He would win the MVP award for the league in the 2018 season, and he would be a big part of their run toward the championship.
Blaine was just, a textbook ball player. Honestly, couldn't ask for a better teammate, better ball player, someone that worked as hard as Blaine. The dude did everything right, and it showed on the field, and he was a blast to play with, honestly.
It's a blessing because he never missed a barrel. It was also a curse because you'd go 4 for 5, but Blaine Crim went 5 for 5. And they would just outdo you every single time.
He would be our Dan Inman Electric player of the game all the time. And he would come to the studio, or I guess to the broadcast booth after the games, and we'd be like, all right, Blaine, you went 3 for 5 today with 2 doubles, a home run, 4 RBIs, and how would you assess what were you seeing out there? And he's like, yeah, but I struck out once. That's just how he was. That's the kind of competitor he was, and I think I really admired that.
Big wins against the Cincinnati Steam and beating the defending champion Lima Locos in a thrilling 8-7 victory put this team at the top of their conference. However, this stretch of the season was marred by some rough patches, as after a quick start, the record leading into the All-Star break was sitting at 22-9. However, this break would set up an ending to the season like no other in team history. First, the team saw one of their own shine in the All-Star game, as second baseman Thomas Cesaro took home the MVP honors from the game.
It was fun. I really wasn't expecting that. I was just out there to enjoy like what it'd be like, some like playing All-Star game, stuff like that, and it was more of just the experience part that made me like enjoy it a lot.
Winning the All-Star Game MVP was something to celebrate, but he and the other Copperheads that were at the game were ready to end their season on a high note. The final stretch of the regular season proved to be a big one, going 9-1 to end out the campaign, finishing with an overall record of 31-10, which is the Southern Ohio Copperheads' best record in their team's history. Now it was time for the postseason, and after drawing a first-round bye, the Copperheads faced off against the Hamilton Joes in their first series, but they would have to win this one without their ace. In the top of the fourth inning, Michael Darrell Hicks hurt his right arm and was essentially out for the rest of the postseason. This was a hard pill to swallow for the team, and trying to move past it was tough for the players.
Michael started the first playoff game and then throws a pitch and just walks off because he had, I guess, torn something in his elbow. I think he ended up needing Tommy John surgery. And that was probably the most deflating thing I've ever seen.
Well, I feel like all the guys, I could tell they felt bad for me. They all looked like they were disgusted and stuff like that, just because they probably knew what it was. 'Cause I felt it pop my elbow, but we had a bunch of dudes that pick up the slack, honestly.
The playoffs had to continue, and the Copperheads made short work of the Joes, winning 5-3 in Game 1 and 4-3 in Game 2 to advance to the GLSCL Championship game, where they would square off against the Saginaw Sugar Beets. Game 1 was a convincing 7-2 win for the Copperheads, with pitcher Jeff Cielko shutting down the Sugar Beets bats and Ty Alderman hitting a big home run to help Southern Ohio take Game 1. But the elements were against them in Game 2, as rain would force the Copperheads field staff to work hard and get it ready for game time.
There was a massive storm before the game and completely flooded the field. So we were running around looking for some turfs, trying to get the infield ready. We were squeegeeing the third baseline with a massive squeegee to get all the water out and drain it off the tarp. So we certainly got our work cut out beforehand.
With the elements out of the way, the game could get underway at Bob Wren Stadium in Athens, Ohio, but it was all Sugar Beets early on. An early 7-0 lead felt like we would be heading to a Game 3, but there was some fight in the Copperheads that night. The momentum swing came, quite literally, in the 7th inning with back-to-back home runs. First, a 2-run shot from Ray Zuberer made it 7-6. Then their MVP, Blaine Krim, tied it up with a solo shot.
But they start chipping away, and you just know then. I think we were just taking the lead there, but you knew it was over then. There was no way they could overcome that. The Copperheads had it rolling. I think it was done there.
The comeback game where they won the championship, I think there were back-to-back home runs in that game, and we had come back from a multi-run deficit, and it was just to have Bob Wren behind us just light up was so much fun.
But so when I got done with my 3 innings, I actually stepped out of the broadcast booth, got a drink of water, went down, got a hot dog. I actually went down and bought one of the Copperheads jerseys they had on sale. Just kind of like trying to clear my mind a little bit, think about everything's going to be okay. I get back up in the booth, I think bottom of the 4th inning, and they started to climb back in it. By the time I was on for inning 7, that's when the back-to-back homers came by Blaine Krim and Ray Zuber, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, it's a 1-run game with 2 innings left. They're going to get this done.
The Beats scored a run in the top of the 8th, but the Copperheads' bats had come alive, scoring 3 more to make the score 10-8. It all came down to the final inning. 2 outs. One last pitch from Joel Hake to clinch the first title in team history. Everyone was holding their breath.
Daniel Page in a 3-2 count. Joel Hake trying to put it away. He'll kick and deal. Full count, swing and a miss! The summer of 2018 belongs to Southern Ohio. For the first time in franchise history, the Cheads are champions.
For me, I didn't know what I was going to say. I knew for a little bit of if they win the championship today, roughly what am I going to say? What am I going to call? And I had like a little idea, but overall, that's just the real emotion coming out of me, right? And I say that, you know, the summer of 2018 belongs to Southern Ohio, because it really did.
Just like that, they were the 2018 GLSCL champions, the first one in the 17-year history of the team. Those that were current and former members of the Copperheads just wanted to soak it all in.
It felt like I won, and I think hopefully it felt that way for everybody who had been involved with the Copperheads, that it felt like they won too.
The fact that we were able to win that was just for just the whole town, honestly. There weren't many people there, you know, as much as in the past, but like, you know, the faithful were there, and it was just cool to provide it to them. And, you know, again, it was a very fun experience.
You know, it was such a cool feeling to see that was going to be my last year, and ultimately that we did end up winning a championship was a pretty cool feeling.
However, like it is with every summer collegiate team, changes would be sweeping the organization. Manager Phil Butler would not return for another season after this one, and players and staff would move on or even move up. But it was a time to reflect on what a season the 2018 year really was.
Seeing the crowd in front of us go nuts, this group of people who came to every single game, you're always one of the tops in attendance every single year, and getting to watch them enjoy the moment and getting to watch the players enjoy the moment, that's more what I got out of it more than anything else. And it was an absolute incredible ride, and hope that one day the Copperheads can get right back to that championship, and some other kid can be able to call, you know, that championship moment, because it is quite the feeling.
You know, I think we made the most of the short time we had together, and that's a lot better looking back than saying, you know, we could have done more. So I think it's, you know, it's really huge. Like, we'll always look back and we'll always remember those moments.
I always just remember, like, a lot of the guys were cool. We would always just, like, we'd throw football before the game. We'd hang out. We'd, like, play cornhole and stuff outside of the games. It was just a really good group of guys to be around, honestly. So just that whole experience, being around all those guys, was probably the best experience. You know, I met a lot of cool dudes on my team that I still talk to today. So, like, it's good stuff.
Along with the ultimate team goal being achieved, several individual awards were won by the team in 2018, including the MVP of the league, Blaine Krim, and Coach of the Year in Phil Butler. In Butler's final year at the helm, he would finish with an overall record of 73-50. This would mark the end of a great season, but the show goes on, and the Copperheads players and staff would soon face new challenges to overcome.